What's going on, JB Faction? My name is Josh Winston. So I had a request to watch this video from the channel A Plus Start. He has a series called Son of a Glitch, and I haven't seen any of those videos, but I had a request to watch this video. It's glitches from the Spider-Man PS4 game. I played that game, and it's probably my favorite superhero game of all time. So let's see what kind of glitches this game had that I missed.
Son of a glitch. Marvel's Spider-Man. It really is a fantastic game that I had a lot of fun playing, but as is always the case with these big 3D open-world sandbox-style games, there's always going to be a glitch or two. There's no way that they could get every single bug ironed out in something this massive. And Marvel's Spider-Man is no exception, but honestly, some of the glitches in this game kind of add to the experience. So let's kick things off with something simple that you can do pretty much anywhere in the game. Throughout New York, you'll find things that Spider-Man can interact with by webbing and then casually throwing down the street. And this can have a knock-on effect to nearby NPCs, some of which are programmed to do this stumbling animation. And sometimes they'll stumble and fall inside a wall, and the game will then transport them upwards so they can do a little bit of Spider-Man wall climbing of their own. Now obviously,
I gotta try that on my free time sometime.
I mean, this game looks super realistic, and then you have, well, this. You don't even have to try really hard to trigger this, you just have to keep throwing stuff down the street, and eventually one of these guys will be like... And pretty much all of them just end up on the edge of a building like this. I really don't think this is safe. I think we both need to just get down now. And it's not just buildings that NPCs can get stuck at the top of, it's also trees. And whatever this lady's doing. How's it going? You planning on staying up there? Are you gonna come down anytime soon? No? Okay. A lot of the stuff in this game to do with NPCs is kind of random. Mostly it's kind of enemies getting stuck inside things. Like this guy getting stuck inside this wall. Or this guy getting stuck inside this car. Or this guy... Oh, ouch. We should... Ooh. One of my favorite things is when a predisposed enemy is now jiggling on the ground, even though they're completely lifeless, twisted up and mangled on the ground, just jiggling away. The enemies do love a good jiggle when they're dead. Enemies also provide some unintentional hilarious moments by running into each other or not being able to run around things like Fisk here. I mean, come on, dude, seriously, just run around it.
Yeah, come on,
my personal favorites is when enemies get stuck in this endlessly falling loop. Just listen to the glorious sounds of this. It's beautiful. Excuse me, you look like you need some help. No, I mean, seriously, are you okay? You know, this feels very much like a tortoise on its back situation. You know, one of the biggest spectacles in this game is anytime Spider-Man has to chase down a car to hunt some criminals. But wouldn't you know it, even those have some issues every now and again. For instance, sometimes the car that you're chasing down doesn't actually move and it just stays in position and all the animation
I actually wish that happened with me. I really wish that happened with me.
Like what you're watching right now?
Because those cars are really hard to chase.
Physically possible. And then just to cap it off at the end, it's just like, nothing strange here, all in a day's work. Then going from a car that doesn't move to a car that just doesn't know when to quit. There's never giving up, and then there's just this.
Oh my god.
You know what? I'm a really big fan of these new conveyor belt streets. They really get you where you need to go. Oh, and also, never die during one of these. I didn't picture things going this way. You know, I think Spider-Man's greatest enemy might actually be cars. I'm not entirely sure what makes me think that, but yeah. Cars. Although, on the other hand, they may also be his greatest ally. Hi. You know, I heard that parking in New York is actually a nightmare. This is why somebody decided to park their car inside a wall, because that's normal and completely expected. As is having a picnic.
How do these glitches happen?
Inside a car. Listen, I'm gonna level with you, this is pretty dangerous, I would maybe not do this. Moving on to something completely different now, and there's sections of the game where you can take control of Miles Morales, and let's just say he's an interesting guy. Some pretty strange things can happen with him. Firstly, there's a section of the game where as Miles, you're trying to get through one of these sable checkpoints, and people are finding the game was actually loading in these weird denim low poly people instead of regular NPCs. Now, if this isn't some weird warning of a government-controlled dystopian future with these low poly denim people, then I don't know what is. Now, what I think is happening here is the game's getting confused of where you actually are, and it's loading in the wrong kind of people. The way the game handles crowds is it uses low poly people when you're at such a distance, and then when you get closer to them, they pop into real NPCs that you would see in the game. And so what I think is happening here is the game is getting confused with just how far away you are from these people, or it's just a complete loading error, and, well, good luck having no nightmares.
Maybe it is a loading raping error.
Is T-pose.
That is
Yep,
pretty
he's
creepy,
reviving
though.
that old dead meme. This basically only happens in this one part of the game
Slender
where you
Man?
first take control of Miles, but hey, I'd be lying if I said I didn't get a chuckle out of this the first time I saw it. Here's a funny glitch you can do at the end of one of the combat challenges that I've aptly named the Skewed Spider. This is kind of finicky and very difficult to pull off, and it took me a good couple of goes, but what you need to do is be in the air when you down the last enemy of this combat challenge. When the combat challenge stats come up on screen, and if you're in the air and Spider-Man's next to a wall, he'll end up at this weird skewed angle when he stands on the ground. Now this is cool and all and funny to look at, but you
now I
can
can see why it's
actually
called
get a very
Skewed Spider.
extreme version of this. So extreme in fact that Spider-Man is now inside the floor standing up sideways. Now everything about Spider-Man is completely normal except for the fact that he's in this state, but you're still able to run around and even jump. Now eventually this will wear off because I think the game actually corrects itself as it goes, but hey, it's a lot of fun while it lasts. Hey guys, listen up. Spider-Man's not just Spider-Man, he's also Superman.
What?
You heard me correctly, there's a glitch in the game that makes Spider-Man shoot up into the air much like Superman. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this one.
That
I've
is
seen
awesome.
some versions of it where Spider-Man kind of gets
That's the only instance
around
where
in such a weird
one of the
way
very
where it
few
just
instances.
confuses the game, but either way,
Sorry, pausing it. That is one of the very few instances where I say a glitch is awesome. Most of the time, I hate glitches.
it's fun to look at. I mean, look at the height you get on this thing. Did you know that Peter Parker was a photographer? Did you also know that he can take selfies of himself? Well,
that's
apparently it's
creepy.
true. Must be some kind of weird self-conscious thing where he's just like, I don't want to be in this picture, so he just decides to leave his hair in instead. I'll just post
It's like
one of
a
these
faceless
bad boys
and
on
non-crippled
Instagram.
Jimmy
It's not
Valmer.
creepy or anything.
Oh, God. I don't care about your $8 choices, Wendy's. Yeah, I don't eat your food.
We absolutely have to talk cutscenes with this game. There's some of the best looking cutscenes in any modern game. However, one of the things I love about modern gaming is all cutscenes are real time, which means the opportunity for a glitch to pop up during a cutscene is highly increased, and I love it because this is one of the games that does it the best. And the glitches range from all different kinds of things. For instance, faces just becoming contorted, or the entire character just kind of screwing up in a ball, or just limbs.
I thought The Amazing
wrong
Spider-Man
places.
2
It's
had messed up
completely
glitches,
nuts. We all know how Miles likes to T-pose. Well, there's an entire scene where you talk to him and both Spider-Man and Miles are T-posing till their heart's content. They end up looking like someone's playing with action figures and acting out the entire scene. You'll have like completely random NPCs standing inside Fisk. I mean, what is this? Or how about entire QuickTime events where nothing is as it seems and things are just janky and weird and Fisk just bugs the heck out? I mean, look at this. This is art. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event.
Let me go back to
Some
that
of
real
these
quick.
glitches are thing is as it seems and things are just events where nothing NPCs standing
I have
inside
to see
Fisk. I mean, what is this? Or how about entire QuickTime events?
Tell me that does not look like he's raping him.
Where nothing is as it seems and things are just janky and weird and Fisk just bugs the heck out. I mean, look at this. This is art. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Some of these glitches are caused by dying just as you go into the cutscene. If that happens, well, Spider-Man just takes the day off.
Jesus
He tries
Christ.
to elevate himself to higher frequencies by just vibrating on the spot. It's quite honestly some of the most bonkers stuff I've ever seen in cutscenes.
Yeah, I can tell.
There are cutscenes in this game where Spider-Man will sometimes stand in place of Mary Jane, and not only is Spider-Man not in frame because Mary Jane is a lot shorter than him, Spider-Man is also stretched for some strange reason. I don't have any idea what's happening here. I think I need to just calm things down and go to a glitch, which doesn't make any sense either, but it's not.
That stance he's making,
One of my favorite glitches in the game has to be this ridiculous looking one where Spider-Man just
saw that at the
falls on the
beginning.
water. And one of the best things about it is it's super easy to do. To pull off this glitch, what you'll need to do is unlock the air skills tricks in the web slinger category, and then all you have to do is jump up in the water and press circle, and then holding forward, press circle and triangle together, and bam, you're rolling on the water. If you keep
I gotta
rolling
try
forward,
that sometime.
Spider-Man will continue rolling forward as you'd expect, and pressing
so
left
cool.
or right will change the kind of animation that he does while in the water. It kind of makes for some interesting water acrobatics. And surprisingly, it's a really great method for covering distance while on the water. So yeah, it's really practical, but also pretty ridiculous to look at. I think we should wrap this episode up by looking at one of the longest and strangest glitches in this entire game, which happens completely at random. With the game being an open-world sandbox-style game, they can only make it so big, and so what they would do is close off the bridges to stop you from getting out of bounds. And this can be seen anytime you try to cross a bridge and the game tells you you're exiting a playable area and then pushes you back in the opposite direction back into the game. However, it appears that sometimes randomly this barrier that prevents you from going out of bounds is sometimes just not present. And this opens the game up massively for some out of bounds exploration. One of the first places I went to was the Rikers prison, where it's now daytime and everything's kind of still on fire. I guess because you'd never see this area outside of the story mode where it's nighttime and everything's on fire. So this was kind of interesting to explore. There's obviously no NPCs here or enemies, so you can explore without any interruption. And then I saw the raft in the background and I had to go and check that out. Now with the raft as it is, it's kind of just a hollow shell. There's nothing inside it. In fact, if you go to the very top of it, there's just a giant hole that drops you into nothing. So I don't think I'm going down there. But what I was most interested in with being out of bounds suddenly was going to the other side of the river. Now, a lot of this stuff on the other side is just very low poly, very low-res textured buildings. It's the kind of stuff you'd expect to see in maybe like an N64 game with those very blurry textures and very basic geometry. Now, what I was surprised to discover is a lot of the bridges here actually have some solid sides, and some of them you could climb. And if you actually managed to get on top of some of these bridges, you could go to the other side. But what you'd be met with is just a dead end that drops off into nothing. Now, the other side of the river, the buildings, they're not solid, so you're not able to just run around on top of them, so that kind of limits your exploration. Another thing you'll see out on the river are the different kinds of boats. You've got the Staten Island Ferry, which also isn't solid, and also these guys who chill out on this boat, and they are just very poorly textured, low poly models. And the stuff of nightmares. You guys must have seen this online. It's been everywhere. This is just a flat, unwrapped UV texture slapped on what's supposed to be a face. It doesn't even have eyeballs. You know what's funny is you don't even need to be out of bounds to see these. You can see them from pretty much the shoreline, and yet they look like this. Insomniac, please put normal people in your boats. You're freaking out the kids.
Black paint to their eyeballs.
Who's driving the boat? Who's driving the boat? Nobody. Nobody's driving the boat. I was also surprised to learn that the ferries don't actually fit under some of the bridges. That is a lot of insurance you're going to be claiming there, buddy. I was very curious to see where the train actually goes, so I waited, and then it passed me, and then it disappeared. That was kind of disappointing. I don't really know what's going on with this area. There's a bunch of street lights.
Oh, you're underneath.
No actual platforms.
Oh, wait.
Kind of weird. I kind of really enjoy how the game handles turning cars around on a bridge. They kind of just go through the wall. It's really trippy. Almost as weird as the cars on this bridge, which float ever so slightly off the ground. Honestly, I could make a whole video on the weirdness of out of bounds in this game, but there's a couple of things I want to wrap up with. Firstly, you can actually reach the Statue of Liberty. It is a real thing. It's not solid, but you can look at it slightly. Would be nice if the camera mode allowed you to move a little bit more upwards so you could actually see the thing, but hey, you're not actually supposed to be here, so that makes sense, I guess. For those of you who are playing the game and find that you can cross the bridge and you're now out of bounds and it's yours to explore, if you really want to get to the very edge of the map, be prepared for a 45-minute trip to the very edge of the world, and that's using this roll glitch that we talked about earlier, which is easily the fastest way of covering that much distance. And for those of you who don't actually want to put yourselves through that trip, I've done it for you, and this is what it looks like. In fact, at some points, the water actually kind of disappears at certain angles. It's really weird. The scenery of the world is in fact just a backdrop, a 2D texture placed on a flat plane, which makes it look like more scenery than there is. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you need with a map this big. If you go to some of the tallest towers, you can see quite a distance. And if you fall off the edge of this world, the game will place you back on the last solid surface you were standing on, which was most likely something a lot closer to the normal map. Strangely, the game doesn't actually place you back in the playable area. It keeps you still out of bounds, so if you do find that you've fallen out of the map somehow, you'll still be out of bounds and you'll still be able to explore this entire area. The game, however, will now keep you out of bounds when you try to get inbounds, in the same way that if you're trying to get out of bounds, the game will try to keep you inbounds. But if you are trying to get back inbounds, you can just use
that glitch does not happen to me.
Did you get all that? Good. Honestly, Honestly, when this glitch actually happened and I found out I could get out of bounds after trying so many times to force myself out of bounds, I must have spent a good 3 hours just exploring things and seeing what was out there. Like I said, it is a very random glitch, so if you really want to experience this, I'd keep trying to get out of bounds across the bridge just at random times and see what happens. But there you have it, guys, some great glitches in Marvel's Spider-Man, which is a fantastic game.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed playing it, and like I said earlier, the glitches kind of just add to the experience, so there's some cool glitches you guys can go and try out. I just want to take this time to thank everybody who had a clip in this episode. A lot of the glitches in this game were very random and just happened by chance. Luckily, the PS4 records a lot of gameplay as you play, so a lot of these glitches can be shared with the world. So a huge thanks to everybody who had a clip featured in this episode. If you liked what you saw in this episode, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at AStartShow for updates on upcoming episodes. I've also been away for a while, so now is a great time to support the Patreon for the show and keep the lights running. And also make sure you subscribe and hit notification bells and all that jazz, just so you don't miss upcoming episodes. I'm going to try and upload these once every 2 weeks. Okay, I think I've covered all the bases. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. And if you like this episode...
Alright, see you later. That was a very interesting video. I'm not going to deny that. that last glitch that was showing me with that 2D blurry like town in it. I hope that while I'm playing the Spider-Man game on my free time, that glitch does not happen to me, because if you're killed, you're gonna stay in that glitched area, and and if you try to get back inbounds, it'll tell you it's out of bounds. Hopefully that does not happen to me, because that place looks miserable in my opinion. But two of my favorite glitches that I've seen were the Superman glitch where he just soared up to the sky like that. That was pretty cool. And also like the spider roll on the water. That was awesome as well. May have to try those two glitches whenever I'm playing Spider-Man on my free time. But what do you guys think? Push down some below opinions on this. If you like, see a thumb up. Hate, see a thumb down. All social media will be down below the description box, so it's a true joke video if you want to watch it. And be sure to subscribe to come to JW Fashion journey to 10,000 subscribers. See you later.